Hey guys, Mary here, and thank you for joining me on the podcast about me. So, today I'm talking about me, obviously. The reason being is not in any vain way, but because you are at least diving in enough to watch some of what I've already done, I thought you might want to get a little inside scoop as to why I even wanted to start a podcast to begin with, kind of the vision as to where I want to take it, and even the name, the channel name that I chose for my podcast has a story. And I thought it would be fun just to kind of deep dive a little bit into what I was thinking when it all came about. So I will start with the name, Taking a Mary Break. That was something actually that my mom said to me. And it's a really neat story. Granted, it is a play on my name, of course, but I am the youngest of three. And I would say that my sister and brother would even agree with me that we all felt like we had a very special relationship with our mom, and she always had time for us. So I remember one day, I couldn't have been more than 4 or 5. I was itsy bitsy. And I remember I was small enough that she stopped what she was doing. She sat down in a chair, set me on her lap, and she said, some people have coffee breaks, some people have food breaks, not in this house. In this house, I have a Mary break. And that's true. And I just always thought, even though it was off the cuff, it was so sweet and so enduring. And that just always stayed in my heart and just became a staple in my childhood that I always remember. Um, this is not going to be a sad podcast, but my mom did pass away many years ago. Um, we were always exceptionally close. I can remember, um, obviously, being little, there was very much that parent child connection, which is what most everybody has and what everybody wants. Uh, it was very much, I knew mom was always in my corner. She always had my back. I felt like I could talk to her. I could tell her anything. I never even really went through a phase where I didn't. If mom asked me, I always tried to be, whatever was going on. As it evolved, of course, as I went to college, came home to visit for the weekend, even when I moved back, 2 hours away from where I grew up and here in Amarillo, I'd go for the weekends or whatever back to Canadian and visit. And so when I thought about doing a podcast, I thought, what's something that would center me to do the best that I could on whenever I'm talking about whatever topic is, being played, being talked through at that time. And I thought, well, I'd want a little bit of the essence of my mom as if she was in the, here, really uh, giving me her, attention with whatever. So, yeah, I want the feeling that we're just talking face to face and you're pulling up with a chair, sitting down for a good, I don't know, tea, coffee, water, whatever your thing is. Maybe a glass of wine, who knows? Uh, but yeah, and just joining in on the conversation. So it's an homage and it's just in a way of saying thank you and total respect for my mom is how I came up with the name Taking a Mary Break. So, as far as what got me into wanting to even do a podcast, uh, anyone that knows me, any friends or family, will tell you I always definitely got the creative gene in the family. Um, I was the kid that I'd be holding a jump rope, but it would become a microphone, or I would have a hairbrush, and all of a sudden I'm talking or interviewing people. That was totally normal for me. I just always enjoyed that. So then, as I went to school, had always done the plays, had always done the theater, even through college, and even, had an agent for that long. That's another story in my life. Um, but yeah, and enjoyed it. Uh, on the flip side of that, on other creative things I did, was I loved to write. I always did. When I was a kid, I had a diary that turned into a journal that I remember a time or two, even mom encouraging me to write a little paragraph or a short story, like to turn into a little magazine or a Reader's Digest kind of thing. And I think I entered definitely two and maybe three contests, and no, didn't win any of them. Um, Probably my only real claim to fame with writing was a really good friend of my mom's, which was a good friend of mine as well. Um, Actually, she had me do it twice. They were two things that very important parts of her um, life was going on. And one of them was opening a little art studio in Mobeetie, Texas called the Yellow House. And I wrote the poem for about it as requested. And when they did their opening for it, Red Stiegel came and got to read my poem and he signed it. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there because of work because they didn't believe that was really happening, but that's okay. So, anyway, needless to say, writing then turned into blogging, of course, as technology developed, and then the best of both worlds, writing and a little bit of, being able to talk and have, that interaction like I loved in the theater. I thought, oh my gosh, a podcast is perfect. And I thought, well, what do I want to talk about? There's so many subjects, but I didn't want to just limit myself to one subject because there's so much more. Yeah, I love a good conspiracy theory, but I also like, you know, maybe there's someone on TV, a celebrity I want to talk about, or I love to cook, or, I love to write. Maybe I'll talk about an author or a book I'm really into, or something that's going on in my life. I have certainly been through a thing or two, which I'm sure all of you have. But sometimes, even when you hear a story and it's something almost identical to what you've been through, it's nice to know someone's in your corner, or maybe you can think of a different perception uh, in whatever's going on in a different light. So, I want to have real conversations. I'm going to have some raw conversations. I want it to be authentic. I want it to be real. Mostly, this world is insane. You know that, right? And I'm just trying to take a little bit of that to remind you guys that not everything is terrible, um, that there is still good, and we are still capable of good. Um, and I just, I don't know, want to share some of those thoughts. And if it can help someone in the process, then I think I've done my job. So, um, again, please, like this, comment, subscribe, anything you can do to help me kind of get this channel going. I'd love to make a difference in this and hope that I've taken a little bit of your stress away today. And if not, at least had you thinking about something else for a few minutes. Thanks as always for having my back, for those of you that have been with me since the beginning. And I look forward to talking to you soon. I've got one more episode coming up before the next series I do. So get ready. It's going to be fun, and I want you there. Okay, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. As always, this is Mary.